Welcome to another episode of Underground Spotlight here on Forgemaster Metal Reviews. This is the place where you get the most out of your metal. This is one of our favorite segments, and we hope it's one of yours.
There's nothing quite like gearing up for another adventure in the mold-overgrown tombs of BanDCamp, where we know great metal riches await us.
The gateway to annihilation is under siege. Let's dive into the underground and talk about our favorite metal albums from BanDCamp. Some of my favorite finds are just completely random, like my first pick with Valu 2. I found them on the One Man Band YouTube channel, and it was actually the album cover that intrigued me. The music is more diverse than it first lets on. There's the lo-fi black metal that I was expecting, but it was also mixed in with some black gaze and female vocals. There's a strong post-punk vibe on here. It's not going to stand out among the more professional sounding records, but I think that there's some really cool DIY vibes on here that I can't really ignore. Valu 2 gets 3 out of 5 lived-in kitchens.
My first pick here is Wait, The End of Noise, released 11 February on the Artisan Era. Dude, what a surprise. I freaking loved this album. The unique production, old school progressive death metal sounds along the lines of Cynic and Pestilence. Unbelievably creative song structures invoking melody and dissonance equally. This album is a wild ride and it deserves multiple listens to really appreciate how brilliant it is. I love when bands aren't afraid to turn up the bass in the mix too and let those creative sounds of the low end shine through. Truly an awesome piece of this. And truly one of the highlights of 2022 in terms of songwriting and uniqueness. Could easily sit in my death metal top list at the end of the year. It really is that good. The artwork is unreal too, and it honestly is the main reason why I gave the album a spin in the first place, so don't skimp on your album art, folks, if you're making an album. 4.5 out of 5 Hourglass Dripping Heads.
And next on my list is Belarusian band Krvvla with their full-length debut X, released on Brusha Records. There aren't too many albums that I've felt compelled to revisit so far this year, and I'm kind of surprised that this was one of them. With 8 tracks and a total runtime of 26 minutes, this is yet another full-length from 2022 that clocks in at just around half an hour. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of enjoying some of those. Maybe it's just one of the fact that we have to listen to like hundreds of albums, and it's refreshing to get a half-hour-long pacing album. The relentless post-black metal riffing on here is very nicely contrasted by an overarching atmosphere of fear and dread. This album has great use of spacing out the relentless metal with very highly atmospheric instrumental tracks that just really lend itself to creating an awesome atmosphere on X. Don't sleep on this one if you want a super unique atmosphere in the blackened death category. 4.3 out of 5 moss-covered statues.
My next pick here is Nervochaos, All Colors of Darkness, released 11 February. 25 years is a long time to take a hiatus, man. But these Brazilian death metalers are returning with the killer fury of old school death metal tinged with thrash. Nervochaos are 9 albums deep in their long career, and to be honest, this was my first run with the band, and I was not disappointed. You get what you want out of the Brazilian death metal style here. Fast tremolo-picked riffing, pummeling drums, and guttural vocals that weigh heavily on kind of classic thrash influences as opposed to earlier Floridian death metal. I think my biggest gripe with the album is that there could have been more vocal diversity and expression, and the covers were kind of out of place, but definitely worth a spin if you love that classic thrash death metal sound. 3.8 out of 5 Trinities of Witches.
And And yet another treasure from the underground here. Dusk is a Pakistani group headed by Babar Sheikh. Babar has been at it since 1994, which fucking blew my mind when I first read that. Despite having been around for so long, Imaginary Dead is Dusk's fourth full-length album. I was really floored at the level of musicianship on this album. There's a fantastic blend of blackened death, doom, fused with traditional sounds of Central Asia. This is an album that I think I'll be revisiting quite a bit, just due to its uniqueness, injected with some of my favorite death doom tropes. And really, you know, we don't get a whole lot of blackened doom around here, so it's a cool one to put on that list. A sleeper hit right here in the blackened doom category, Imaginary Dead gets 4.2 out of 5 metamorphosizing mammals.
And my last pick here is A Pale December, Death Panacea, released 11 February. Hailing from Milan, the duo A Pale December are back with an absolute monster of a black metal record. Avant-garde music do a great job finding some of the more hidden artsy metal releases and bands, and this album checks all of those boxes that you would want in a release like this. Killer riffing, but a lot more than your run-of-the-mill black metal record here. This record takes atmospheric black metal and says, let's just fucking kick it up a notch in the aggression department. Beastly riffs, catchy song structures. One of the more better album releases of February too, which was kind of a nice surprise. I do think that the production could have had a little bit more power in it and a little bit more love, but that's a personal preference, and I did not ding the album whatsoever for that decision. I'm gonna give this one 4 out of 5 floating corpses.
And so what were your favorite Bandcamp bands from the last couple months? Be sure to leave them down in the comments below, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel.
Go with the gods, Forgemasters. Make sure you watch out for the Pale February. See you guys next time.
Take care.